Okay, hey, welcome back. We're in the middle of the giving series. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to give anything. But how do we give? What's the right way to give? In last episode, if you can check that out, we talked about some common motives. Why do we give? And right today and the next episode, let's talk about methods. Let's get down to brass tacks. This is kind of where we separate the men from the boys. How do we, if I can use that idiom, if we can do the right thing in our giving, we want to give and not get hurt. So this is the guidelines for giving. This is part one of the methods. We talked last week about Uzzah. He steadied the ark. He had the right motives, but he didn't follow God's method. He got zapped. God killed him. It's just as important to follow God's methods as it is to have a right motive. We combine those two. We do it right by combining God's methods, good motives, boom. It's a good thing. So we saw too that God has a lot to say about giving. So let's be wise about our giving. Okay, here we go. Take notes, get your Bible ready. Number one, here's one way we can, and I wouldn't recommend it, but here's one way people do this. You can throw your cash, typically out your car window, at the panhandlers. Well, beggars with an obvious handicap, yeah. I understand that. There was this fellow named Blind Bartimaeus. Blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the highway begging. Mark chapter 10:46. He was clearly a handicapped person. He clearly needed a handout from other people. He's blind. There are cases, though, and I would urge caution in some of our cities, on the street corners. I know one family that's what they do for a career. They live in a big house. And they each take a different corner to get off the highway, and they just have a little cardboard sign. They look, kind of rough. Well, there's nothing wrong with them. It doesn't say, I'm hungry. It just says any help would be appreciated. It's like, well, yeah, I think one time he says, my microwave is broken, help me. Be careful about giving to that in that way. A lot of these folks are addicts. They have an addiction. And when you just indiscriminately give them a handout because you feel sorry for them, you may not be helping them. You might be actually perpetuating their problem. They are both bankrupt morally and financially. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 17 says this, "He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich." We used to work in the city, and some guy, a beggar, $5, and he'd go right to the liquor store and buy a $4 bottle of wine, and that was his day. It's like, wow, that really doesn't help. Don't give ignorantly. Be careful about that. And indiscriminate giving it's possible, these are just methods, be careful about this. They can generate envy, and they can cause malice among others. They say, how come you gave it to that guy and not to me? And you have to be careful about that. You don't want to create division and envy amongst. Here was the brother of the prodigal son. And this is the older brother's statement. And this is where he saw the father. The son came back. And the father poured it on him. He gave him, his stuff and gave him a robe and had a big feast for him. His son came back, And here's the older brother, poochy lip. And yet thou never gavest me a goat. that I may make merry. I never had a party. See, he has a little envy there of what the father was giving to the son. Instead of being rejoicing and being happy, something was wrong in his heart. He didn't rejoice when his brother came back. By the way, that's a problem in missions as well. It's been a while, but we used to attend missions conferences, and they'd announced that we have money, we're going to take on, financially support 3 missionary families this week. At the end of the week, we're going to choose 3 families, and there's 5 families here, all wanting to be one of the chosen. Well, that can cause a little, competition and envy and so on. Just be careful about that. That's not so good. Giving can be considered a loan and not a gift. In fact, if you loan money to a relative, you might as well count it a gift because you're not getting it back. It's just the old rule of thumb. But giving can affect our relationship with each other. I start giving you money, and maybe I give you money, and in my mind, I'm thinking, a year from now, you'll do me a favor. Well, wait a minute, then that's not a gift. I'm not buying influence. I'm giving you a gift. It's not a wage for something that you owe me. It's a giving. It's a gift. Hey, I gave you so much. No, you owe me, or you got to do this favor for me, and so on and so forth. Careful. It's not a gift. You might be careful about, it might be seen as a bribe. That's what bribery is. Graft, corruption. I give you so much, and so much for your campaign or whatever, something while you're in office. And now that you're elected, you can help me with my land deal or help me pass this bill or something like that. Be careful. That's bribery. That's not good. Proverbs 29, verse 4, the king by judgment establisheth the land, but he that receiveth gifts overthroweth it. The implication is there, he that takes bribes. Be careful how you give. If it's conditional, it's not a gift. Giving is based on an emotional appeal. And the response we have, the Sally Struthers, and if you remember Sally Struthers, they have this, child with dirty face and a tear and the sun setting in the background. And for just $2 a day, you can help this with food and water. And you really never know where your $2 goes. You just don't know. It just tugs on your heart, and you give that. Where does your money go? It's a big con in Vietnam. They pass around, they have a child, they pass around, and I think they dope the kid up, and they stand on the corner, they hold they don't, not so much anymore. I think they're kind of getting out of that. But they used to just play this game. It's a con. It's a con to play on the foreigner's heart. You notice the Vietnamese, when they walk by, they don't even look at them. They know these people. They know it's a bad thing. Mine eye affecteth mine heart because of all the daughters of my city. Lamentations chapter 3. Jeremiah says, mine eye, what I saw, it affects my heart. My heart's broken. Be careful. Be careful. You have a tender heart, but be careful. Giving is based on a long-term commitment. This is more missions related. It's a promise, much like a loan. Oh, missionary, we're gonna support you for $100 a month for as long as you're on the field, and so on and so forth. We don't have the $100, but I promise, in this church, I'm going to put my church in debt. Because we're going to promise to give you that $100 every month. And by the way, if we can't make it, you're the first one to get cut. And why would you do that, Pastor? Why would you put your church in debt? That takes faith, too. Owe no man anything but to love one another. We can give via taxes. or the confiscation of property. And let the government take care of the poor. Well, that's one method. Where the government should take care of that. Oh, we hear that. We have an agency for that. They can go to social services. They can take care of themselves. The government will take care of them. When in fact, it's really the family's responsibility. And if there's no family, then the church can help. But nowhere in the Bible is the government obligated to help anybody. The government's supposed to just protect us and defend us. It's the roots of socialism. We give up our rights and our responsibility to take care of our own, and we have the government throw money at the problem. It doesn't work. Socialism is great until you run out of money. And it doesn't work at all. Some people, this is their method. We dream of and we design a utopia. There are no poor. There are no needy. But as far as utopia, the perfect place, perfect society, we already have one. It's called heaven, God's kingdom. But here on earth, it's not happening yet. We will always have the poor. Jesus said that. For the poor always ye have with you, John chapter 12, verse 8. We always have the poor. But God made provision. God has a law for the poor. Gee, God said that. I think that's pretty important that he'd say that. This is really interesting. And I'm going to close, but we don't get this taught. We're not taught giving the right way, the biblical way in churches. This is why. The pastors are afraid. They're afraid if they talk about giving, there's always that person that puts their hand on their wall and says, oh, he's talking about money again. That's all he wants is money. So they don't talk about it at all. They don't teach the congregation about the right motives and the right methods for giving. And they deny us a blessing. But you can get it. And I'm not looking for anything. We already have a sponsor for this episode. Here they are now.
Welcome to Sterling Valley Church. I'm Seth Hicks, one of the elders here, and I welcome you to join us here in the Valley. We're located at 15099 Sterling Valley Road in Sterling, New York. You can look us up online and come join us on Sunday mornings at 9:30 to worship God together here in the Valley. Or you can find us online at Facebook and watch our services there.
God bless you. We'll see you again. Next time we're going to do the right methods. We're going to close this up and we're going to enjoy giving. We're going to enjoy being part of God's economy. See ya.